Okay, air law. Who knows what about ICAO?
It's an agency within the UN.
Mm-hmm.
Head offices are in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
And they made it there for safety.
Sure, man, you really know ICAO. So ICAO is there to prioritize safety and safety standards when it comes to aviation around the whole world. Okay? ICAO stands for your International Civil Aviation Organization. Alright, so that kind of gives it away. They are an international organization that deals with your civil aviation. Okay. We then move on to, so there is a bunch of information that you could know about ICAO if you wanted to. It's a good idea to know this. ICAO creates what we call SOPs. They stand for Standards and Recommended Practices. Okay, your SOPs are your Standards and Recommended Practices. And the SOPs are this. We suggest that you as a company or as a country or as a CAA collective do this. We advise that you do this. Okay, they are not creating rules. ICAO does not make rules. They are not an authority. They are an organization. They organize things so that authorities can make rules. Okay? So if they don't make rules, what do they make? They make SOPs, Standards and Recommended Practices. Okay. After that, you've then got CAA. We'll talk about JARUS now. But CAA is then where the authority comes in. So ICAO is at the top, managing the whole of the world, saying we suggest that drones don't fly above 400 feet. Okay? That's an international standard. That means most countries will have a law that says drones can't fly above 400 feet. Alright? How does that law get implemented? Well, each individual country will then have a CAA. The CAA stands for
Civil Aviation Authority.
Boom Shaka, the Civil Aviation Authority. So that kind of tells you what they do. They take the ICAO, they take the organization's SOPs, and they turn it into rules and regulations. They are an authority. Okay, they have authority over you. They have the ability to say, you must do this, and if you don't do this, this is going to happen. ICAO has this authority. ICAO says, we suggest that all CAAs do this. Okay. Then the CAA of that country will then say, oh, okay, let's take that standard and let's implement it as a rule. All right. Cool. JARUS, guys, up at the top, that slide that was before us, JARUS is JARUS, stands for Joint Authorities for Rulemaking of Unmanned Systems. Joint Authorities for Rulemaking of Unmanned Systems. So when drones were becoming a thing, and when the CAAs, and more importantly when ICAO realized that drones are actually becoming something that's going to be an actual aircraft in our skies, they decided that we needed to make regulations. Now ICAO is already handling the whole of aviation around the whole world. How are they going to be able to learn about drones and implement SOPs for drones and things like that? Well, they're going to make a team. They're going to make a team who is not ICAO, but is going to help ICAO make the SOPs for drones. That team was JARUS, okay? Joint Authorities for Rulemaking of Unmanned Systems. Mr. Sam Twala himself was on and is still on this team. And therefore, of course, he got a nice big lead in the drone industry, okay? So he said, well, if I'm already doing this, why don't I go ahead and make my own business? And that's what he did. Okay, and as a result, he's been able to make himself what is known as an influencer. When you search the drone industry, there is a high chance that you're going to find Sam Twala somewhere in your search results, because he's everywhere. Okay, including in JARUS. All right, are we all happy with that so far? Nobody's confused about anything? Okay, great, cool. So it works like this. you've got ICAO at the top. Okay, ICAO is at the top, even though you don't see it here. ICAO comes first, then you've got the municipality or the government, okay? You've then go down into your Department of Transport, you then go to CAA. The difference though is that the Department of Transport is being alleviated a lot of responsibility because the CAA is learning to do that themselves. Who wants to take a guess why that is? That's right. Plain and simple red tape. Okay, Department of Transport, they want your bribes, they want your corruption, okay, they want you to. CAA was like, we had companies waiting for 3 years before they can fly their drone. That's 3 years where they've invested capital and now they just can't do anything, okay, because of our unfortunate government situation. So what did CAA do? CAA said, stuff that, let us take on responsibilities and help people out. And that's what they've started doing, okay? So Department of Transport doesn't do very much for aviation anymore, at least not for us in drones, okay? The places where Department of Transport does come into play, mostly nowadays, is sponsorship programs, okay? Things like TITA, I don't know if anybody's heard of that. If you haven't heard of it, you can go and research it a little bit. I was in a school when TITA just started, I was in a school where it started. And of course, what did the government do? They said it's the most corrupt school they could possibly find, and I just left immediately. Okay.